Can you believe the history behind the electric vehicle goes back much further than you may think? In today's world, we always think of companies like Tesla, Rivian, or Polestar as the true, pure electric vehicles. However, the world has been trying to make electric vehicles since the beginning of the automotive industry. It is amazing to think where we would be today if we did not have those first electric vehicles. If we had just gone hybrid or electric to begin with, would we have gasoline powered cars? Over the past few decades, we've had made significant changes and strives to better and create more efficient electric vehicles. Let us take a drive through the history of the electric vehicle. The first early designs of electric motors came from inventors like Benjamin Franklin, which was one of the leading reasons behind the development of the electric vehicle and its concept. Hungarian priest and physicist Enos Jedlik invented the first version of the electric motor. Utilizing this motor, he would develop a small model powered vehicle that utilized the electric motor. Around the same time, Robert Anderson, an inventor in Scotland, also began to develop and create. Around the same time, another expert in the field, Professor Sybranus Strating from the Netherlands, with the help of his assistant Christopher Becker, developed another small-scale electric vehicle. The main issue that arose from these developments was the fact that they were non-rechargeable battery cells. These would be the first creation and development into the world of electric vehicles. In some way or another, they were going to take the modern carriage and utilize it with an electric motor. In 1834, a blacksmith in Vermont named Thomas Davenport developed a contraption that worked on a short, circular electrified track. This would be the early stages of the electric train. The first ever electric locomotive would be built in 1837 by Robert Davidson. It would be powered by galvanic cell batteries. Davidson would continue to develop and change this concept to work on a better, more modern electric locomotive. These developments and research would lead the way for the first battery rail car to be used in 1887 on the Royal Bavarian State Railways. This would be seen as a crowning achievement for electric vehicles during the time period. These early concepts and developments allowed for the continuation of testing for personal electric vehicles. The concept of rechargeable batteries for vehicles did not come into play until 1859. This was when French physicist Gaston Palanté created the lead-acid battery. This design would lead to other professors and scientists in the field to work on a redevelopment to make improvements for the capacity of the batteries, to make them more efficient and open the door for more people to get their hands on electric vehicles. It is believed that the first human-carrying electric personal vehicle came in 1881 in Paris. It was created by inventor Gustave Trouveau. He would take the Siemens electric motor and make improvements upon it. He would then also take the recently developed rechargeable battery and utilize it with the motor, pairing these two together on a James Stirling tricycle, creating the first electric vehicle. Unfortunately, he was not able to patent his invention. Because of this, it would lead to him focusing on the marine world, and he would actually utilize his developments and creation to build out the first outboard motor for a boat. The first electric car would appear in Wolverhampton in 1884 from the creation of English inventor Thomas Parker. Parker had deep interest in fuel-efficient vehicles and the utilization of electric vehicles. He was also one of the first real inventors in the world of vehicles to have concerns about pollution and smoke. He realized that gas-guzzling cars were causing harm to the environment, especially in those early days when there was no true regulations for gas vehicles. The Electric Construction Corporation in the 1890s would have a monopoly on the electric car market, which would lead them to create the first widely available electric car, called the dog cart. France and the UK would push for widespread development of electric vehicles. Electric vehicles as a whole became extremely popular during the late 1800s, whether that was in cars, trains, or bikes. There were extreme positives for electric vehicles as they were less dangerous and could be utilized for bringing things like coal out of coal mines. The electric car would also officially make its debut in the United States in 1890 when William Morse of Des Moines would develop a 6-passenger wagon capable of going 14 miles per hour. Many would consider the late 1890s and early 1900s to be the golden age of the electric vehicle. The world truly looked at it through a lens that the electric car and electric vehicles were the future. Electricity was being billed as the future of society during this period of time as well. What really set them apart was the fact the electric car was more stable, it didn't smell, and it didn't make much noise, making them the perfect concept for a new world of wheel travel. The other thing that really helped the development of electric cars during this time period was the fact the majority of people lived in cities, meaning that they really took off there because there was only a small amount of distance needed to travel, thus making them extremely efficient to utilize in these growing cities. However, electric cars did have issues in the early days. For example, in the United States, they lacked infrastructure, which has been a common problem of today's world as well. It was difficult to charge these when you were traveling on the road for long distances and in rural areas. Because of these restrictions, the electric vehicle was often marketed as a luxury car. It was for the rich who lived in the inner cities or for women who wanted to travel short distances. Technology did quickly catch up with the attempt to make the electric vehicle more efficient. Westinghouse even claimed that they could build a car that could travel 110 miles on a single charge. Even General Electric subsidiaries would focus on alleviating the issues of electric travel through the addition of replaceable batteries and charging areas. However, even though companies in electricity made great strides and inventors worked very hard to make the electric vehicle more efficient during this time period, the 1920s would bring about the death of the electric vehicle. Charles Kettering would invent in 1912 the electric starter, which solved one of the biggest complaints of gasoline-powered cars, the hand crank, which was both dangerous and a major issue. This invention, paired with the recent discovery of petroleum reserves throughout the world, would lead to more affordable gasoline-powered cars. But the man who completely killed electric cars was Henry Ford. Ford understood that he was able to streamline his process in his factories to build out his gas-powered cars. Through his new factory systems, Ford was able to bring down the cost of the gas-powered car significantly, making it almost half of the cost of an electric vehicle, thus essentially killing the electric vehicle in both the United States and worldwide, as he was able to build out a cheaper car in a more efficient manner. Due to new concerns about the environment, the 1960s began a revolution for electric vehicles. Many concept cars began to pop up during this time period, including the Scottish aviation scam. But the 1970s would really bring about the most interest in electric vehicles. The reason behind it would be the energy crisis with oil. The 60s and 70s would be the seeds planted for the future of electric vehicles. It was when most people started to become very interested in saving the environment and utilizing electric vehicles as a means of travel. It would be in the 1990s when GM would announce that they were planning to build electric vehicles. Their first would be the EV1, and it would gain a cult-like following among EV fans. This would open the doors for more electric vehicles to spread throughout the United States and the world throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. However, the game changed completely in 2004 when Tesla would begin developing the Tesla Roadster, which was brought public in 2008. It was the first produced all-electric vehicle that could travel over 200 miles per charge. The Tesla Roadster is seen as the moment that electric vehicles became the future. As technology has advanced, we've seen more efficient ways to develop batteries, the cars, and the infrastructures needed to make this a reality. In today's world, we have more EV brands than ever. We have brands like Polestar, like Rivian, like Tesla, leaders in their industry. The question is now, can EV actually take over? Will we see an EV revolution? Let us know in the comments below if you think EV is the future of the vehicle, the personal vehicle. Thanks so much for watching. Believable Truths.